Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Learn to Become an Animator. In this video, I am going to show you how you can animate an action shot of Thor by using live reference. This tutorial is going to be in a two-part. In part 1, you will learn how you can create layout, key pose, breakdown and in-betweens. In a part 2, I'll take you through how to spline and polish the animation for the final output. Let's begin. Before we jump into the Maya, you can see here. This is the reference we are going to follow for the animation. The screen left you can see the actual scene from the movie. The Thor jumps and lands on the front of the camera. The same action, this parkour guy, he does all the action, he replicates the same actions and he's doing again. So I found this very interesting and this I downloaded from his channel. This is a very interesting channel. I'll just put a link into the description so you can find even more interesting action and you can do animation for that. Let's start. First we have to just create a layout and the camera for this. First of all, I'll keep aside the same video and I'll look into the Maya. Now I have referenced this character Thor. This rig you can find from the website called Agora Community and go to asset. You can search here in the character and you can look for the Thor character. You can download it and you can use for any action scene or any animation. Here you can see. Also you can download any character from these assets. It's all rigs are free for Blender and Maya as well. So I have referenced this Thor character into the Maya. Now first of all we'll look to the whole scene and just decide the camera. So what I have done, I have just created one platform like this where Thor is going to jump. He just does a 3 backflip and landing again. For that I have just created temporary camera and I have just rotated the rig from the root and I have just created the layout like this. If you see the side by side panel, here camera perspective, in a perspective this whole action is in a single action, see, but I have changed the camera based on our reference. So the first action is just coming towards the camera and around frame 36 I have flipped the camera from the different angle, same as the reference. Then again when he is landing I change the camera into the different position. This is how you can just create a layout. First I have just rotated this character from the root. In a perspective you can see it's a completely single action and he is landing. Now very important things what we have to do is while doing the layout, so when you rotate this character like this for the layout, you also have to rotate and adjust the legs accordingly because the legs are into the IK. We cannot animate the legs into the FK because there is no IK FK switch in this rig and it's a bit difficult when he is going to land. So we have to animate this into the IK. So when he lands at the end, so we can animate his up down motion and the legs will be landed on the ground. That's why we have to just select this into the IK. If you turn into the FK, you can't do that animation. The legs will follow the whole body. Now we have a layout ready. The second thing, will bring this animation reference into the Maya. Let me show you how you can do that. To bring that reference images into the Maya, I have just exported that reference as an image sequence so that it will be very easy to bring into the Maya as a image plane. For that I'll create free image plane. Go to the attribute editor, image sequence. Now just go to our scene and browse this reference image sequence, use image sequence, so that whole animation will so that whole action you can see in the free image plane here. The benefit of taking the free image plane is you can just move this image plane wherever you want into our camera, and especially while animating with the moving camera, it's a very important thing that we have to take image plane as a free image plane, and we'll attach this image plane to our scene camera. Let me rename this camera as a scene camera. Now to attach this image plane to the scene camera, what I'll do first of all, go to the outliner, select the image plane, Ctrl G to group that image plane, name it image plane. Now select the scene camera, select the group and go to constraint. Under the animation module, go to constraint, parent constraint, deselect this maintain offset and apply. So what will happen? The whole group will snap to our scene camera. Now you can navigate by selecting the image plane, and you can keep this image plane wherever you want into the camera. By doing this, what will happen? Now you can just scrub here, so you can see the animation as well as our reference. That reference image is always will stuck with the camera. Even you take a Playblast, that time also this will be always visible into the camera. So it will be very easy to compare with the animation, and you can easily create the key pose or any poses. If you find any interaction or any penetration with our animation, so you can just push back this image plane as much as possible, and you can scale it and adjust the size to get a proper view. Now our basic setup is ready to start the animation. So first of all, what we are going to do for this shot? Finding a key pose is very important thing for the animation. If you are going to animate any shot, first of all you have to plan, decide the action, decide the key poses. So in this case we already have the reference. So what we have to do is we have to decide which are our main key poses into this shot. For that, straight ahead we can just start creating all the poses. That will be the one way, and the second way is you can just select the image plane and you can just key pose into the image plane. You can keyframe from the image plane and you can decide the key poses. For that we have to do one thing, just select the image plane and you can see here in the channel box the frame extension. First of all, what we have to do is find out what is our exact frame length. So our scene and the reference images is till 92. That we have to remember. Then just go to frame extension, break the connection. So you'll find here this animation is gone. The reference images has gone. Now we have to just click key selected, go to first frame, key selected, go to 92, again enter the 92. Now you can see our reference has come back, but there is ease in, ease out, because what we have created the keyframe here. Let me show you in the graph editor. You can see it's a ease in and ease out here in the graph editor for the frame extension. For that, frame extension graph, you just have to create the linear. By creating that linear, you can see our image reference has come completely back in the perfect timing. Now start deciding the key poses. First of all, this is the first key pose. Let me this around frame number 8. I like to create this pose, so I'm just going here and just key selected, so you can find here one key, then go to around 14. So we have to decide, because the body is rotating, so we have to decide such a pose where we can get the whole action very easily. Create a key pose here, create a key, again create a keyframe here, then I would like to create this frame, key selected, again frame 34, key selected. Now from this angle, yes, so 36, I would like to go for that keyframe, again 44, 45, 57. Let's go here, 58 keyframe, then the landing frame, then getting key selected, and the last one. Now while animating, that all the exaggeration, follow through and everything will add while polishing, but right now we are just creating the deciding the main key poses here. Now go to the graph editor and just select this frame extension from the image plane, and the graph just convert into the step mode. By converting into the step mode, now you can see when you scrub here, you can see the main keyframe, you can see into the reference. So by doing that, we are just going to create the same poses here. To create the key pose, just select all the controls of the character, and key first frame. So first frame, I am not following the exact frame there, but we are just frame number 8, we are just going to create, and these all frames one by one we will delete and will recreate those keyframes. So frame 8, let's see, if the camera is locked and you want to zoom in, zoom out into the viewport, just click on the backslash and right click. You can navigate this by 2D zoom pen. Let's adjust the resolution of the camera. It's the full HD. So here we can see in our viewport. If you find a problem by selecting one by one all the controls, then you can just use the picker tool. You can see here picker tool. This is the MG picker tool. When you download this Thor rig, you can get this picker tool as well along with that, and there is one instruction video that how you can install this MG picker tool. I'll just add that link into the description, so it will be very easy to select any control without going into the viewport, and just by into the viewport, camera itself, you can create the pose. Now let's start creating this pose first. Right now I am referring this guys, parkour action, not the actual Thor action. So this is quite clear. Basically, I'm going to do the combination of both the action and will create the animation. Okay, so right now our goal is to create the poses from first of all the key poses, and also look into the camera view where how we can see this angle of the whole body of this parkour guy. If you are new in this animation field and want to create this kind of complex scene, I would suggest before going to create this kind of complex scene, you can just practice first how to create a pose. That I'll show you in my another tutorial, that how you can create a simple pose by using a simple rig. Practice a while for that, and you can just try for the difficult action, because I can understand that creating pose with multiple character controls will be little harder if you are not used to it. And always keep in mind that auto key should be on. Try to match as close as possible. Now 14 is our next key pose. Go to the 14. See, it's very easy because what we easy to create the poses because we have already created the layout and we have rotated this whole body, so it's very easy to manipulate all the controls. Our first goal is to create the key poses, main key poses. Then we'll go with the flow of the action and we'll break down the poses in between poses and we'll polish at the end. If you do the practice regularly, you can find the speed very easily and you can get the speed. Select all the controls, key. Now we can navigate both the we also have to adjust the position also of the position of the character also into the camera. Let's go to the next key pose. Now here at frame 20, I think this kind of pose should be there, so we will just take this value to the 20. Now you can see like this. You can go to each and every poses and create all the key poses. Now you can see I have created all the key poses here. I just stopped the recording and I just created all the key poses for our blocking pass. You can see I'll show you by selecting the controls. Let me go through the pose by pose so you can understand. Now you can see. So here some places I have followed the reference, the parkour guy. Some places I followed the Thor reference, so which Thor is holding the hammer, so that pose will look good in that case. That's why I followed that pose. And I have just referenced the hammer by downloading from the same site, Agora community, or you can find this on the Gumroad as well. I'll provide the link for the hammer in the description, so you can download it and you can use in the scene. The hammer rig is wonderful. It has a multiple functionality where you can multiply the hammer, effects, everything. You can check out the video as well for the hammer rig. So few places we can just tweak. For example, here, yeah. Always tweak the reference and look for the original reference as well of the Thor, so you can understand the poses and the dynamic poses which will look good into our animation. So this is how you can create whole key poses. Now we have our blocking pass ready. If I take a Playblast, it will look little odd because of the camera movement. So if you want to take a Playblast in the step mode like this, so we have to animate the camera. We have to give the camera also the keyframe same place where we gave the character, and we have to convert that also into the step mode. Then only the Playblast will look fine with the step mode. So let's do that as well. Before that, just I'll save the scene file, select the camera, select the character, just create a keys wherever our character is moving and the place where exactly the camera. Select the camera and do it step mode, step tangent for the camera as well. Now you take a Playblast, then it will look the same as, or you can just play, then you can see the Playblast properly. Just make sure all the control has the step mode. I think here the tangents are different. Yeah. So after completion of this blocking key pose, let me take a Playblast here and type of blocking, browse wherever you want to save. For taking a Playblast, always keep here QT, quick time. The encoding you can keep photo JPG so that the image size will take little smaller. Not an image size, the Playblast size will be smaller. Take a Playblast. Wrong Playblast we have taken. Just always select the viewport or select the from the render setting. If you are selecting the from the render setting, then make sure in the render setting here the scene camera, we should select the scene camera. Or else from the window. If you keep the from the window, just select the window whichever you want to take a Playblast. Here we go. We have our key pose ready now. So the next step is we have to break down few more poses from the reference into our animation. Let's go for that. To do breakdowns, just select the image plane, go to the frame extension, go to graph editor, select the graph of the frame extension and make it linear. So after making the linear, you can see now, you can see the in between all the reference poses you can see here. Now we have to select the in between which pose you want to create here. Let's create here one pose. Let's create here one pose. So wherever like we have missed the poses, I mean we didn't created the poses before, so I'm adding the poses there so that our action will look more fluid. This is fine. 41, 42, I'll just add a key. 48. This we are just deciding the breakdown into our image plane. We are not creating right away into our animation. Before we decide the key poses, then we'll break down into our animation. So at the last, it's almost static. So even now go to graph editor, again make it step tangent. Now if you play, you can see our image plane more smoother than the previous one because we have more breakdowns there. The same way we are going to create the breakdowns into our animation. For that, select all the control of the character. There are shortest way to create breakdowns. You can use a twin machine for that, but I am not going to show that right now. I'll show from the graph editor how you can create that breakdown. For that, just select all the graph of the animation and make it linear. Now you can find the almost the same pose. If you have created the perfect pose of your animation, then you can find that exact pose wherever you go into our image reference. See, just click there. Now go again 17, click here. If you don't find the same pose, just we have to tweak, or before tweaking that, let's click and just create all the poses whichever we have decided to create now from the image plane. 42 also we are going to do. Then just keep eye on the image plane. Now just go back to the step tangent. Now you can find very easily that automatic we got in between poses, but we have to tweak certain poses because it has been created automatic. Now go to some poses and make tweak out of it. Offset the legs. It should not look like a single leg. That adds the beauty into our animation flow. Now here you can match the pose with the reference or the Thor reference, whichever you like. So I'll match around in between. And make sure both the hands should not look same. I mean, little offset should be there. That will give good dimension. So while moving up, you can just make down. These all things overlap and all we are going to do in the next pass when we start polishing the stuff. Right now we are just concentrating on the breakdowns and adding more in betweens here. Now select all the controls, and just go to step mode. And now you can just play. You can see our animation is looking more fluid now. But the same thing with the camera again is going this, it's not in a step mode because we have added more frames here. So I'm just creating all the keyframes for the camera as well, and we'll do the step for that. Yeah. Anyway, we are going to adjust the camera at the end of the animation again, because after smoothing out the animation we have to adjust the camera. Now you can see started coming out. Take a Playblast. Now, a very important thing, the animation starts from the first pose itself. See, just standing and the animation is starting. So we need to add little more animation at the beginning before this pose. So what I am going to do that, either we have to sleep hold the animation at the back or just go in the minus few frames, minus 10 or 20 frames, and we'll create some poses for that. Because this first pose in the reference is not matching right now. To match that pose, we have to create one pose here around, which is going little downwards, like anticipation pose, where just such as a Thor is going to take the push up. Just create one pose where it should look like just ready to fly, and his look at is upwards. from here this pose will match with our first pose of the reference. Little bit arc into the body, and as if the hammer is going to now it will work in our continuity, right? But obviously we can't start the animation from the pose like this crouching pose. We have to start the animation or standing pose, then he takes an anticipation down and jumping, right? So for that we just add one more pose here at the beginning. Yeah, here we go. To match everything according to our reference and the animation, we have to move all the frames by 12. So the whole animation should start from the frame number 1. Right? Let's go to the graph editor, select all animation, just move it little behind. Right, select the camera as well, so that we'll get the keyframe of the camera also. Now press shift and move. It will snap to the frame. Now you can see our animation start from the 1. Same way, this also we have to match with our reference, so the first pose is starting at the 14. So for our reference image also we will just just increase the timeline again, so until 105 will go. Or more. Yeah. Now you can see from 1 to 1110. Sorry. From 1 to 1110, our total frame length is 110. Now we can take a Playblast, press 6 to see the nice texture of the Thor. You can see here, and let's take a Playblast of our key pose. So this is how you can create the key pose of your shot first, then we'll do the more breakdown and spline and the polish, and we'll finalize our animation. I hope you understood how you can create your own animation by using the reference. So stay tuned and we'll see you in the next part of this animation. Thank you.